bunch of questions for you. Is having David as your lead actor like having a cheat code in a video game?
Yes. Yeah, because he's always adding, he gives you a little bit more than what you got on the page. And I don't mean in the fact of lines. He'll perform all the lines as beautifully as written. It's just, I guess as a Rasta man, I would probably tell you about reggae music having its own beat and its own cadence and its own reverb. That's what David does. So David adds a perfect reverb to what the other actor might be doing, which is just a regular drum pattern.
Can you talk a little bit about actually working with him specifically on set, crafting his performance? How much is he like, are you just whispering something? Like, could you talk about the way you collaborated on set?
On set, it was more so just like these looks that we would have for each other once our shorthand, I think, sort of got to that. It doesn't take very long for you, I think, as a talented director and as a talented actor to realize you are in the presence of each other. And at that point, it's just like, high five, let's go win this game. But it's, he would always remind me, I'm from Trinidad. He's a Nigerian guy from London. And here we are in America, getting to tell a story. And I think we owe it to our audience to really, truly give them our lens. There's sort of, it's like, why not, right? Why can't two Black guys from wherever the hell we are in this world dream up something beautiful that no one's ever seen before? And I think we would always take what our writers gave us as sort of like this beautiful foundation, right? That told all of the departments what to do, what to build, what to make. And we would sort of insert or inject ourselves in the middle there and just kind of say, what more could we give to this moment? And it was always an honest thing. If I said we were done, David might just look at me and I'll be like, no, we're going again for him. Because there was this unspoken look that there was something else that he had in his spirit that needed to get out.
One of the reasons why Taylor Sheridan's shows, I think, resonate with so many people is that they're filmed on location. They look like a movie production, but it's being told on television. But it also means incredible challenges for the cast and crew working in those environments. So can you talk about the unique challenges that you faced over the 3 episodes that you directed?
The state of Texas being at the top of the list, its weather conditions. It decided what we would do when we would do it. So, it took me, I think, 5.5 months to complete 3 of these episodes. It was just truly art. It isn't the kind of thing that you can go in and say, why aren't the stage lights working? You're like, no, there's a storm moving over those plains and we just can't shoot that right now. The entire company is going to be in danger. So guess what? We can't shoot that right now. That is a creative frustration, I think, more so for directors and actors who have sort of gotten themselves prepared to come in and film this right then and right now. But Texas makes you have to approach it from the optimistic side, which is what can we do right now? And a lot of times we were faced with that. But you start out a little tough. You start out being like, man, I hope we're getting everything. But then we'd start watching these dailies. And then David would start calling me on the weekend. And I think by then we were fully locked in. We were fully like, man, like you realize the opportunity of what we have to tell here. And if these dailies are looking like anything that we think they are, I think this is going to be great for our audience.
Talk a little bit about you directed 3 episodes. How much were you able to like block shoot and film a bunch of things? You know what I mean? Like
you weren't really able to, because in a traditional block schedule, it does give you the ability to sort of cheat a little bit and make up some time. But Texas didn't really provide. It was more like a checkerboard schedule because, we probably had a set that was 250-mile radius. We're in Texas, so it's huge, man. Like, so we're on this ranch today. We're on that ranch tomorrow because there's a water feature. We are at this ranch because we need to do a railroad track set extension. But at the same time, it was a joy. It was like, from what I do, every time we do these projects and we have to essentially give them or at some point hand them over to the audience, right? The audience is taking our judgment for it that, wow, this is the best they could have done in 2023 at telling this story. This was like Texas's way of saying like, well, I'm going to show you something else on top of that. And this is the joy of filming on location and not having stage days.
Talk a little bit about editing the episodes and perhaps how they changed in the editing room in ways you didn't expect.
Well, for me, the edit process kind of started when the strike started. I was actually in Chicago getting ready to start a new show, and I think we got paused after 4 days. So I came back to LA, and I realized Post was just 2.5 minutes down the street. So I went, and it was a joy, because it was even a joy. So many of us had been in that Texas pressure cooker for 5.5, 6 months that there were times, just honestly speaking, even as directors, Christina and I may have an honesty moment like, God, I hope I'm shooting everything okay, right? Because that's also, you only have 2 directors here. So you're like, God, I hope I'm not like doing the same thing over and over. I hope my whole episode isn't repetitive. And then you get a chance to go to post where your editors have now taken this in for the first time. And there's some little light email correspondence you get throughout that says, wow, thanks for sending me this scene, or this is amazing, or that's amazing. And so being able to go to post also in a time after COVID, where in COVID a lot of post was done remotely, it was just a blessing, man, to be able to get in there and sort of actually get your hands dirty and actually cut the film with the editors. That was a joy.
His life is filled with I can't believe that it's only 8 episodes because, anyway. So what were some of the things that you learned about his life that really surprised you?
I think overall is just how tough it was to be him at the time he was him. There weren't too many black men with guns and badges to have the guns at that time. So I'm sure that even him arresting certain people was almost sort of jovial in a sense. So I love that part of his story. That would have been a part that I would have never gotten from any of the history books, just sort of personally speaking, what you as a person that's sort of been granted authority, by one powerful white man has to go out and essentially tell everyone else, hey, you got to listen to this guy, right? He said, I'm him, so I have to be him. But, are people going to listen? So I thought that was the most interesting part of the story for me. It was kind of like, here's a cop or here's a lawman. Are we just going to come willingly?
Talk a little bit about Taylor Sheridan, because he definitely has his hand on the pulse in terms of what people want to watch. So what do you think it is about his storytelling that it has so many people, wanting to watch the stuff that he makes?
It's just finding the human element in each script. I think a lot of people make scripts that are like, oh, wait till the audience sees this, or this is going to blow everyone's mind. And I do believe that even in the large universe that Taylor has created, you watch all of them and you somehow feel like, that's me. Like, I just watched Lioness and I was like, hey, man, like, I relate to this. Why do I relate to this? I am not a CIA operative, or, if I wasn't, I'd be like one of the most brilliant CIA operatives ever, right? But you watch it and there's something in there. There's something that, and I don't know if it's his time spent acting in this business and maybe at a time that he wanted to make suggestions and he couldn't, but I think he's definitely, as you said, put his hand on the pulse, because it has now infiltrated our living rooms and we are now feeling like, oh, this is just capturing me and my family. This is, Yellowstone just happens to be about a family from Queens or, whatnot. We all see ourselves in a little bit of something. And I think Bass Reeves is no different.
I think you would be an excellent CIA agent because you don't look like every other, what I would consider to be an agent. Maybe this would be the new show in the Taylor Sheridan universe, right? CIA, right? Yeah. Talk a little bit. My last question. You obviously must have had an amazing experience making the show. What's like a day that you will remember forever when you were on location filming? Oh, man. It was actually my last night there. And we were shooting a thing in it's like the toughest prison in the West at the time. And the camaraderie had just gotten so amazing at that point. Like, we had, 60 something extras in this prison scene. And we, my first AD went in there and he said, Damian wants you guys to be very loud and you don't even care that Bass Reeves walks in. You guys are the hardest criminals out. So in between each take, it was noisy. This was like this 1800s prison. And we were going again. And one of the extras just sort of got up from his cot. And he handed, I don't have it with me now, but he handed me an actual U.S. Marshal's badge. And he said, hey,
on behalf of the Marshals in Oklahoma, we just wanted to say that we're really proud of what you're doing here and giving a chance for us to even take our history in again. And he gave me an official, he's like, you kind of officially been knighted, man. So I guess I am an off-duty Marshal from the state of Oklahoma. That has nothing, or anything like that has never happened to me while filming on a show, man. So the fact that we had extras that were just, everyone was feeling the energy, everyone was feeling the vibe, feeling the emotion of what we were doing and the magnitude of it, and to see it happen right there on set was kind of cool.
On that note, I got to stop. I'm just going to say I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest of the episodes, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much. I love the shirt, man.